Hello, everyone, and good morning. Welcome to our live feed update for September 10th. I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, and I'm here today to update you on everything that happened yesterday on the Big Brother 26 live feeds. It was day 56 in the house, and I'm here today on my own to talk to you about the events of the day, including big move, big veto ceremony, big results, big drama, lots going on today here to get through. So we're going to jump straight in. Of course, as you know, we are in a situation where Chelsie is the HOH. She nominated Angela and Chemo for eviction. But on day 55, Angela brought up some things about Leah. Got Chelsea's head spinning a little bit. Chelsie started thinking about making a move on Leah. Then it shifted to Quinn. Then they were up all night talking about Quinn. And by the time that it was 5 a.m., the move was set against Quinn. That they were planning to take this shot on Quinn, use the veto on Angela, put Quinn on the block, send Quinn home. And they were going to kind of blame Leah for it as well. That was kind of the idea. So that's what we have here in the morning. It turns out Leah did give Quinn a little bit of a heads up last night, the night before. Leah had talked with Chelsie and MJ for a long time. She was throwing Quinn under the bus a bit, but then kind of tried to walk it back when she realized that they were then trying to use that to put Quinn on the block. She did give Quinn a little bit of a heads up. And MJ and Chelsie did plan to talk to Quinn prior to the veto ceremony to let him know what was going to happen, not blindside him. They did have that conversation. It wasn't really much. The veto ceremony was very early yesterday. There was not a lot of space before the veto ceremony happened for anything to change. Quinn did try to pitch like, hey, I'm loyal to the 5. Don't put me up. Don't use the veto. This is silly. But they basically just kind of ignored him. It was they kind of like exited in the middle of the conversation. Hey, sorry, the veto ceremony is coming up soon, so we got to get ready. And they did let him know that, hey, this is kind of Leah's fault. She was up all night with us talking about you, throwing you under the bus. So the feeds went down for the veto ceremony. And yeah, that's I have a feeling that production did not want things to change. They definitely seemed to be pushing this meeting as quickly as possible. So the veto ceremony happened, and wouldn't you know it, MJ uses the veto on Angela, and Quinn goes on the block. It is now Quinn versus Chemo for eviction, and that is where the nominations will stand until Thursday, until the vote. No AI Arena anymore. It's just these two on the block. That's how it goes. So then things get a little more interesting because there's a little bit more to talk about here after the veto ceremony. This is more time. Leah's pissed. Leah's not pleased about this. She was told straight up by Chelsie, you were one of the options to go up. So basically, you should be grateful that it's Quinn and not you. She says to Quinn that MJ is just a puppet, just doing what's good for other people. This is what I thought might happen with MJ, is that like this move does not really benefit her. It benefits kind of Chelsie more. And so it really does look like she's making a move against her own interests for the interests of somebody else. And she also says if Chelsie thinks she's going to beat T-Core in a final 2, she's got another thing coming. Basically, she's delusional. Basically, like if MJ's playing for Chelsie and Chelsea's playing for T-Core, then they're all idiots. Quinn thinks he's in some deep trouble here. Obviously, he is. Angela is very happy. And Chelsie tells the cameras that she does feel bad after all. That, she had been talking with MJ the night before. They'd been really trying to get it like, oh man, he totally deserves this. But once again, Quinn's reaction kind of disarmed them. Quinn is so non-defensive. He really just does not lash out. He takes it in. He has that vulnerability in him. Oddly, despite the fact that the jokes maybe make it feel like he refrains from that vulnerability, but the vulnerability helps him here. And once again, he has disarmed his opponents. And Chelsie again feels bad. He took it so well. She does really like him, but she did the move she had to do. Now, throughout the day, but especially initially, the explanation for why Quinn went on the block is all over the place. I mean, it ranges from like it's so inconsistent, but like it ranges from the inconsistencies with who you wanted out. Did you want out Chemo or did you want out Angela? And did you tell Leah that you wanted out Chemo or did you tell Leah that you wanted out Angela? Because she seemed to not know for sure. And so what's going on there? And hey, did Rubina try to work with you or did she not try to work with you? Why didn't you tell us any of this? What about Angela's theory? Were you trying to make an alliance? What about Leah throwing you under the bus? Why is she throwing you under the bus, but then also not a little bit? Like lots of different just wild stuff. And then occasionally in there, somebody will say, oh, and also you're like good at competitions, which is like the main thing. So Chelsie and MJ do talk about the trio. Now that this move has been made, they talk about this. They say, okay, Quinn, he's on the block. We're taking the shot at Quinn. We're leaving the trio in the game. Is that the right move? Because they're going to have the majority soon. They're going to be able to control the votes. And Chelsie says, they're not going to control the votes. They will need to survive one more week after this. Then they will control the votes. So it's very important, MJ, that you or Cam win the next HOH and we take a shot at them. Then they won't be able to control the votes. And it's going to be great. I mean, I don't even need to like address, I think, that logic in the first place. But I do want to say there's often so much focus on controlling the votes. Like whenever it's like, okay, there's an alliance of 7. If we get down to 13 people, then we'll always control the votes because we have the majority. This isn't Survivor. This needs to stop because it happens every single season. This is not how Big Brother works. Vote control is not that important unless there's some kind of twist impacting things, impacting nominations. What matters is HOH. What matters is that if you have a majority, you are more likely to be the HOH. The HOH can control the vote flow for the most part, as long as they're not idiots and they don't put up people that they don't want to leave. It's easy. If you have 10 people in a house of 11 people, you control the votes, right? Except if that one person wins HOH, they just put 2 of you on the block. Now who controls the votes, right? Again, there are other scenarios where if you have a secret alliance and you can guarantee, like say the cookout, and you can guarantee that one of your numbers is up against somebody that's not in your numbers, then you can control the votes to make sure that your alliance member is safe against the other person. But the thing that matters is the secrecy, the structure. Just having raw numbers, having a trio in the house does not mean you control the votes. It doesn't. If the trio wins, they're going to put 2 of you up. They're not going to put one of themselves up. If you win, you're going to put 2 of the trio up. Because why would you put one of your own up? The votes don't matter. Okay. That's all I got there. Anyway, from Chelsea's point of view, it's vital that MJ or Cam wins the next HOH and takes down one of the trio. So Quinn, in the meantime, Quinn has this impression, largely because one of the excuses that he's on the block was this like supposed working with Rubina thing. He's under the impression that Rubina kind of screwed him over, so he's kind of annoyed with her. She tries telling him that like she didn't do anything, but I think part of this is that he has like misplaced frustration. He's been told over and over that Leah threw him under the bus, and so initially he's like, "Well, what?" But also Rubina threw me under the bus. I'm mad at Rubina then because he doesn't want to be mad at Leah. I think this eventually gets cleared up over the day, but like it was a weird little thing that happened. Quinn also talks to MJ. And he kind of lets her explain all of these inconsistencies. This is why I used the veto. This is why you went on the block. It's because of the things that Leah was saying, because of the things that Angela was saying, because of the things that Rubina was saying. And he says, I understand. That makes a lot of sense to me. I get why this might have happened. That said, I'm still loyal. I'm still loyal. I'm still going to work with you. We can't keep this trio in the game. If we let them stay, we are in trouble. You need me in this game. I will stay loyal to this. That's what I wanted to do in the first place. And she says, I believe you, Quinn. But, you know, in order for you to stay, you're going to need Cam. And by extension, that means you're going to need Chelsie because Cam will do what Chelsie says. And so they talk for a little while, and it's a good conversation from Quinn's end. Again, he responds to this well. He genuinely is trying to convince her that he understands why she would have done, even though it made no sense the way she explained it. But I understand. It makes sense to me. I get why you would have done it. That's my bad. But I'm telling you, I'm loyal. And if you keep me, I'm still with you, and I'm going after that trio, and I'm going after, you know, the people that we need to go after, and it makes a lot of sense for you to keep me. And MJ is kind of convinced here. Granted, he talks to Leah after this conversation. He says, I think I'm screwed. Like, maybe MJ is open, but I don't think Chelsea's keeping me in a tie, which means we need both MJ and Cam, and then also Angela. Like, ooh. That's rough. That's rough. But in the meantime, MJ goes to Chelsie after her conversation with Quinn. And she says, hey, I just talked to Quinn, and I got to say, I think he's right. I think that trio is more dangerous than the duo of Quinn and Leah. And I think that he will be loyal to us. Maybe we should keep Quinn. And Chelsea's like, I don't know about that. I don't know. I feel like it's a little late. It's a little late at this point. We just put him on the block. I'm just like, I don't think so. I think he's fine. I think he's chill with it. I think he's going to be okay with this. Like, I think if we keep him, he will be good with us. I think you should talk to him. You should talk to him and feel him out. And Chelsie says, look, I'm open to it, but I don't want to break a tie. So don't have me breaking a tie here. That's not what's going to happen. Which means basically no, because you can't expect Angela's vote to keep Quinn, right? She says, and plus, I don't know. I don't think Quinn will be loyal. He wasn't loyal to the Pentagon. He threw us under the bus. Why would he have done that? If he's not going to, like, the Pentagon was loyal. And she has this conversation with Cam too. They're still salty about the Pentagon. They're like, the Pentagon was a proven loyal alliance, and Quinn turned on it. So what's going to stop Quinn from turning on this 5 that he keeps talking about? Quinn is only loyal to Leah, she says. He loves her. And MJ does back down a little bit here. She is kind of convinced by this line of argument, like, yeah, you're kind of right. Quinn is only loyal to Leah. That is a problem. I think the main thing you will see over the course of this day and probably the next few days is that Quinn might have the votes to stay, but maybe not ironically, but like it makes sense. It's very fitting. Fittingly, it's his sort of connection to Leah, his devotion to Leah, that is preventing people from pulling the trigger to keep him, because they know that he is just going to work for Leah and not them. And funny enough, if Quinn was willing to throw Leah under the bus a bit more, like Leah is willing to do to him, he might have a chance to stay, but they know he's not. So, um, which is not to say he doesn't have a chance to stay at all, but I think that's probably the biggest obstacle right now is his attachment to Leah. Chelsie does tell the cameras, though, for what it's worth, that she wouldn't be mad if Quinn stayed. She does really like him. She's trying to be like his wing woman. Like, hey, get in his DMs. He's an attractive guy. Great hair. But it's weird to me. She keeps saying this to the cameras, but like in active conversation with people, she is pretty adamantly shooting down the option of keeping Quinn. I still just feel like Chelsea's not being totally upfront with us to the cameras. That's what I feel. I feel like she does not want Quinn to stay, but she's saying to the cameras that she wouldn't be mad if it happened. But who knows? Now, there's another big thing, of course, to get through here. Even though Angela didn't exactly make this happen, that this is kind of like Angela at best kind of like stirred things up and got Chelsie thinking. But there's reason to believe that Chelsie might have gotten thinking anyway. And very quickly, they didn't believe what Angela said, but having thought about it for like a second, they realized that, or at least Chelsie realized that this was a good move for her. However, it doesn't change the fact that Angela very, very much just actively threw Leah under the bus. And they're able to use that as an excuse when they talk to Leah. And so Leah is pretty annoyed. Like, I basically like went out of my way, lost Joseph in order to use this veto to save you, Angela. And this is how you repay me. You throw me under the bus. And according to them, you're part of the reason why Quinn is now on the block, why they considered me as an option to go on the block. Like, you are a poison to my game. She didn't say that, but Angela is. So there's a lot of like, the day goes on. This is later in the night. So the day goes on. They're hanging out. They're having fun. They're doing talent shows. They're singing. It's all, yeah, everyone's having a good time. Except for Leah. Leah spends the day very upset, really. And she eventually, after they hang out, have a good time, she gets into the shower. And Angela comes up to her. She's like, Leah, what's going on? Are you upset with me? Like, listen, I'm upset with a lot of people. And honestly, yeah, I'm upset. You know, I've been told that you threw me under the bus. Like, what do you want me to do here? And she's like, no, I didn't do that. I did not do that. Leah starts crying. Like, I'm so upset. Like, why would you, why? Like, it's like everything sucks right now. It really hurt my feelings. Like, this, that you would do that. Oh my God, no. No, Leah. I did not say that. I did not say that. I promise you. Who told you I said that? I don't like telephone. I would never do that to you. Oh gosh, Leah, no. No, Leah. How could I do that to you? I did not do that. They are twisting my words. I would never do anything against you, Leah. What I think is interesting about this is that, like, Angela's over the top dramatic emotion does like disarm the other person. Because how are you supposed to be the crying one when Angela's doing that in front of you? You know what I mean? Like, how is Leah supposed to continue to be like, oh, but I don't know, I'm just really upset. Like, when Angela's like, oh my God, no, Leah, no. Like, you just kind of go, oh, okay. So they keep talking. They're going to the bedroom. They keep talking. Angela's upset. They're twisting her words. She would never do that. And Angela promises, okay, Leah, I will not say anything about you anymore unless it's in a positive light. Because I did not intend for any of that to be negative toward you. I was just saying that I wanted you to, I wanted to talk to you and see. So Angela's now upset. Like, oh man, they're really using me. They're twisting my words. She goes and talks to Chelsie about it. Chelsie, what's going on? Leah's upset with me. Why did you say to Leah what I said? I did not mean it to be serious like that. All I was saying was that when I heard I was staying up late at night and I overheard them saying things like that makes sense. And then I watched them go into the room. That's all and then I saw that. And so then I decided to go. And Chelsie says, listen, I'm over it. I'm over it. I don't know what to say. I'm over it, Angela. And she leaves. She doesn't have time for it. Angela's like, she follows Chelsie. She's like, Chelsie, I want to talk to you. She brings her upstairs, and they're like, okay, fine. What do you want to say? Chelsie says, listen, what happened today had nothing to do with what you told me, okay? It was entirely other things. This has nothing to do with me. If you have an issue with Leah, you have an issue with Leah. I have nothing to do with it. Leah stayed up all night throwing Quinn under the bus. That's what changed things. Anything between you and her is between you and her. It has nothing to do with me. Angela's like, what? She was throwing Quinn under the bus? Oh my God, that makes my stomach hurt. It makes my stomach hurt that she would throw him under the bus like that. Oh man. Well, Chelsie, I do want to work with you. I want to work with you. I'm sorry I used that word, but I do. Chelsie says, listen, I'm fine with that. And listen, and Angela, there's nothing wrong with being a pawn this season. You can still win that way. Remember what I told you. You might be going up on the block, but you're never going home. That's what I'm trying to say. So Angela comes away from this conversation sick to her stomach. She goes back to Leah eventually. She says, I talked to Chelsie. She's so condescending. I'm done with her. I didn't like that conversation. Because like, that's what I'm talking about. Angela, we are at the bottom. We are losing our numbers. It's just going to be Chelsie and T-Core to the end. Just and listen, Angela, Quinn wanted chemo out over you. That is why they took you down, to put Quinn on the block as a bigger target. They're protecting each other. That's why we need Quinn. Angela's like, oh, well, I mean, if you can get him to promise that he's not going to put me on the block, I would be willing to vote to keep him. Oh. Okay. Leah says, okay, I mean, that's great, but like, we do have the problem of we need Cam's vote, and if we need Cam's vote, then we need Chelsea's approval, essentially. But maybe it's something they can work on. Leah says, regardless, we need to stick together. You need to stop throwing me under the bus. We need to win HOH next week. And we need to put Chelsie on the block against T-Core. That is the only way to get Chelsie out. I am a certified grudge holder. Chelsie should not have used me as a scapegoat. She should not have told me that I was an option to go on the block this week. That is what we need to do. Chelsie and T-Core. And Angela says, okay, I'll do it too. Uh-oh. So, interesting stuff there. We'll see. We'll see if anything comes of that. Obviously, I think that that is like the danger. And that was, I think that the people that said maybe putting Leah on the block was the better play might have been right. I don't know. I mean, granted, the trio still likes Quinn. I can still go back and forth. I still think it's the right play overall. You got to avoid Leah or Angela winning that HOH now. Who knows what Angela might do, but Leah would be very dangerous in this spot for Chelsie. But man, that would really open things up because it would really start pitting the Chemo Rubina against Cam MJ. They go to war. Leah and Angela sit back and watch the war happen. I mean, that would be pretty effective if that happened. Okay. So that's a good chunk of the day there. This is like heading into late at night. There's more conversation throughout the day. Again, like lots of hangouts, lots of like goofing around and stuff. But the game continues throughout as well. And it is, the game does not stop. There was an interesting conversation. Briefly, Cam was talking to the trio about Quinn. And he's kind of just like annoyed that Quinn isn't more mad about Leah throwing him under the bus. They're like, he's in love. We tried warning him a long time ago. But like, basically what's happening is like they're trying to get Quinn to blame Leah because they want Quinn to be anti-Leah. And I think, again, like ironically, if he became anti-Leah or at least willing to be anti-Leah, I think that they would then be like, yes, well now, if Quinn is not locked in with Leah, it makes a lot more sense to take out Chemo. So I would say watch out for that, but like I think it's almost too late at this point. I think he needed to listen to what MJ and Chelsie were telling him about why he went on the block and go, "Wow, I can't believe Leah did that." And maybe he still has some time. He can maybe like go to them and be like, "Listen, I've been talking to Leah, and she's just like, she just keeps blaming you guys, and I just know that she threw me under the bus, and it makes my stomach hurt being in her presence, knowing that she caused this." I really think he has a path to stay. I really do. I think he could very easily get those votes if he proposed himself to be an anti-Leah presence, because what that means for Cam and MJ, and even Chelsie to some degree, is that he remains a bit of a shield, a bit of a weapon to be used against Leah, against the remainder of the trio. Like, there's a lot of space for that to happen, and they all personally like him, want him to stay. They just felt like strategically this move needed to happen. It's never been a good thing for MJ and Cam. And MJ already turned around on this, even without Quinn being anti-Leah, thought maybe Quinn should stay. Then his connection to Leah was part of what allowed her to be talked down. Chelsea's telling the cameras, at least, that she wouldn't be mad if Quinn stayed. And she's more upset with Leah than she is with Quinn. And so if she knew that Quinn was not in love with Leah, then, I do think there's still a chance that something like that could happen. But, I'm kind of talking fantasy here because I just don't see Quinn doing it. He has never really had that in him. So we'll see. Uh, so Leah talks to MJ late into the night. Um, and basically, with Angela's vote, she's trying to get these votes together. She's trying to get to 4 votes. To get the 4 votes, it's herself, Angela. They've already kind of convinced MJ a little bit that she'd be willing to vote to keep Quinn. That's 3. They need Chelsie to break the tie, which she does not want to do, or they need Cam to vote as the 4th, which he will not do without Chelsea's approval, in their opinion and mine. But they think maybe if they can lock in MJ and MJ can help them convince Cam, they can make something happen. Leah's going to talk to MJ again about the Cam and Chelsie situation, the jealousy that's happening there. I think in Leah's mind, she can separate MJ and Cam from Chelsie to some degree by pointing out the cuddle stuff and the jealousy. And she thinks that MJ is more separate from Chelsie than she actually is. And she, I think, hopes that they can pull Cam. Which, again, I don't personally think that they can without Chelsie. But I think Chelsie is probably more pullable than they think at the moment. So she's going to talk to MJ late into the night saying, Angela is actually down to keep Quinn. You cannot tell anyone, though. Like, genuinely, MJ, you have ratted on me so many times. Please do not tell people what I'm telling you, especially this right now. But Angela is down to keep Quinn. We need to work together. She rants about Chelsie for a while. She tries to make this play. We'll see where it goes. But that's what Leah is trying to do here. Now, again, this is actually like the move for both MJ and Cam, in my opinion. I think it benefits them both to keep Quinn here and to take out Chemo to remove one of T-Core's numbers. I think that it also benefits them both because they need to be seen to have done something that does not benefit Chelsie. Like, I believe right now that they both lose to Chelsie. I believe right now that they are both seen as Chelsie pawns or puppets, as Leah says. And that will significantly decrease their odds of winning in the final 2, even if they do make it there. And let's talk about them making it there. Because T-Core, Chemo, and Rubina are also going to talk late into the night, as they do. And T-Core says she thinks Chelsie is still cool with them. They should still protect Chelsie. But she can't say the same of MJ and Cam. She's worried that MJ and Cam might target them. Yes, she's worried about Leah and Angela. Obviously, she's worried about Leah and Angela. But MJ and Cam, are they not more dangerous in competitions? Should we waste our time on Angela and Leah when MJ and Cam are sitting right there, better at competitions, definitely going to take shots at us soon? Maybe Leah is valuable as a number. Maybe Leah is somebody that can be pulled in. And maybe we should be looking at MJ and Cam as targets. And maybe somebody on an update talked about exactly this scenario a few days ago. So this is obviously dangerous. And it doesn't mean that it will happen. But if the trio wins, it is a pretty like no-brainer decision to take shots at MJ or Cam. Now, I say that Leah is definitely still dangerous. I think that T-Core maybe underestimates how clocked Leah has her and Chelsie. And that may end up saving MJ and Cam if that leaks out, like how much Leah is looking at the both of them. Because while I agree that Leah should nominate T-Core and Chelsie if she wants to split up the entire house, she should not be saying it to anybody. And she did say it to Angela, who is definitely not a good person to say it to. So, you know, she, Leah did say like, "Hey, I think I need to just take like the Sam approach and just not say anything to anyone, lock myself up there and just do it instead of saying it." And I agree, but she has already said it um, to Angela, so we'll see. Tikor is worried about Angela's vote against Quinn. She thinks that it's possible that Angela might switch her vote. Correct. And so she wants to make sure that they do not take Cam and MJ's votes for granted, that they need to keep working on those votes, which is correct. And they should be doing that for sure. So that's kind of where things stand here. Tikor, I think, does not have the greatest read on who Leah would put up, who Angela might put up, who MJ or Cam might put up. I think that the trio is in more danger than she thinks. But the game plan is mostly correct, looking at potentially targeting MJ and Cam next week, but also still looking at Leah. She's probably a little overly concerned about Angela, but in general, she's, I think, pointing them in the right direction. While also just being, at this point, just blatantly open about how like, yeah, they're gonna probably protect me more than you guys, and like Chemo and Rubina again have very much like accepted their fate as just Tikor's shields. And to be fair, MJ and Cam, this is a genuine conversation to be had, right? Is it better to be Chemo and Rubina and know that you're shields and accept it because you're friends with Tikor and you're happy for Tikor? Or is it worse? Or is it or is it better to be MJ and Cam unknowingly being shields for Chelsie, unknowingly playing your game for her, thinking that you're playing for yourself, but actually just playing for somebody else? Like, what's worse? I don't know. I mean, I think for entertainment, it's much worse to knowingly be doing it. But in terms of like looking like a fool, I think knowing you're doing it is probably better. But that we like people looking like a fool, which is why we like it when they don't know. Anyway, that's about where things stand. So the thing to look out for is the vote. The biggest thing is that with Angela potentially on board, and I say potentially because who actually knows? You need to get MJ actually locked in, and you need to get Cam. And I think with Cam, you need to have Chelsie say, fine. Fine, as long as it's 4 votes and I don't have to break a tie and I can still go to Tikor and be like, I did my best. I'm sorry. I think there's a world there where you can make that work. I think that Quinn has a path. There's that path, the one where he does not throw Leah under the bus, and then there's the path where he and Leah intentionally try to separate from each other while maintaining both of those votes, and picking up MJ and Cam. If Quinn were like Johnny from BB Can 6, he would have this in the bag, because Johnny did a much harder version of that where it was 3 different sides and none of them were actually allies. So Quinn only has 2 sides, and one of them is a locked-in ally, which he can plan with. So, you got something. You got something. And there are a few days, and this house is prone to flipping. But this is the first week without AI Arena, so, if I had to say right now, it definitely does not look great for Quinn, even though there are a couple of options, a couple of paths for him to potentially stay. And then heading into next week, which is what we do when the AI Arena is not here, we've already got a couple of plans. For MJ and Cam, they're looking at taking a shot at the trio, finally. For the trio, they're looking at potentially taking a shot at MJ or Cam. And then in the middle, you have Leah and Angela looking to take shots at the heads of both of the trios. So it's kind of an interesting setup if Quinn leaves, where the trios are now targeting each other, and Leah and potentially Angela are looking at sniping the heads off of both trios. Kind of a fun scenario. Plenty to talk about on tonight's roundtable if you want to join us tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. And in the meantime, we can get a couple of questions in if you would like, and then we'll wrap up. And you can, of course, fill out the survey that I will tweet out after this podcast. And we can have a good time tonight on the roundtable, rating the players, talking about the week, and then tomorrow night, of course, big episode, big veto episode that we will talk about. I'll be on Twitch watching it and stuff like that. Are the trios really targeting each other? Is a good question. Theoretically, they might, but they may also back down and decide to target the middle, Angela and Leah. Although that would likely be a mistake. It would certainly be a mistake for the bulk of the trios. For specifically T-Core and Chelsie, it makes more sense to target Angela and Leah. But for MJ, Cam, Chemo, Rubina, it makes a ton more sense to target the other trio. But T-Core is, again, they talked about this. Again, both sides currently talking about targeting the other trio. Will they actually follow through with it? That is a good question, and I don't know the answer to it at this point. I think that the next few days are going to be very important in terms of where they fall for targeting each other. Okay. Let's see. Quinn is the jury foreperson. Who does that benefit? It certainly benefits Leah. I think it benefits T-Core and Chelsie. And I think it probably hurts Chemo Rubina, who I think will have trouble getting Quinn's vote. I think Angela is obviously not getting Quinn's vote. And then, Cam and MJ, I think MJ probably hurt herself with this play because it didn't make sense for her to take out Quinn. Like, I think Quinn's like the kind of guy he like respects being taken out. Although it could like reverse. He could more respect it. But ultimately, I just think it just benefits Leah. Leah first, probably T-Core over Chelsie right now, but that could be reversed. And then maybe Cam, then MJ after that. I'm not sure. And I think that he is well liked. He will make good arguments, and I do think he will have some influence on the jury. And I think T-Core will probably have the second most influence if she's there, or the most influence, I should say, if she's there with all two of her other trio members. Do I think the next HOH will decide which side wins the season? It might. It might. Because if one side wins, takes a shot at the other, that puts them in a good spot. If one side wins, takes a shot at the middle, that puts them in a worse spot. But ultimately, this is still a T-Core Chelsie game. So it doesn't really matter which side wins as long as T-Core and Chelsie keep their positions. Do I believe Angela is the next Dan Gheesling? I mean, clearly. What kind of HOH comp are we getting this week? Who knows? We got a quiz last time, so I would expect something a little more physical, but we can always hope that it's not because, otherwise we're probably looking at Cam MJ. Do I think MJ and Chelsie may have lost Quinn's vote after he saved them and then backstabbed him? I don't think Quinn will operate that way. If MJ lost some of Quinn's vote potential, it's probably because this move makes her look like she's not playing for her own interests. Quinn knows that he was genuinely wanting to bring MJ far, and he thinks that MJ needs him in the game, and she probably does. So if MJ's in the end with somebody like Chelsie, she was probably already going to lose. But even now, if she's in the end against somebody like Cam, Cam at least looks like he potentially played more of his own game. But I think this is all a bit too early to talk about in terms of where Quinn would vote. I think he would be open to changing his mind depending on what happened for the rest of the season. Who's going to tell Angela she's not a Taylor, she's a Victoria? No, certainly not. Do you think there will be lasting social damage to her game from Leah missing out on the big bonding songwriting session last night. Long-term ramifications. I mean, she's on the outs right now, or I should say in the middle of these two trios. Um, if anything, I think that her separating would be like, publicly is better because she needs a perception right now if these 2 trios are going to head into the next week without Quinn. She needs the perception of, like, she can be picked up, which is what Tikor talked about. Like, "Hey, Leah's on her own now." Um, if she, like, locked in with any one side, she becomes an easy target. If she seemed too social, it would be too obvious that she's playing a middle. So, it's not the worst in the world, I think, right now to be, like, permitting, essentially. But she will need to start, you know, doing some work. Um, Quinn tried to get her to come out and hang out, but she didn't want to. At some point, she'll need to start talking to people because you can't just hope. Um, what are the chances that the final 5 or 6 could be all women? Somewhat decent. Somewhat decent chances. There's only 2 men left after this week, no matter what happens with the vote. Um, Let's see. In the next few weeks, is the next few weeks only becoming a war of trios? Will Angela, Leah slip by? Again, I think that there's a chance they do, but it probably depends on who wins HOH and how willing they are to get blood on their hands, you know? Um, I think that MJ will for sure target the trio over Leah and Angela. I think Cam will probably target the trio over Leah and Angela, but a little bit less likely. I think Rubina and Chemo and Tikor will probably put Angela on the block, maybe put Leah on the block, but they would probably think about backdooring MJ or Cam, would be my guess. They might even use one of them as a pawn. That would be my guess right now. But again, I think things could change over the next couple days. Um, would I agree the season is very similar to BB Can 6? It has some similarities for sure. Does Tucker give you Hardy season 2 vibes? No, he always gave me Jace vibes. Jace season 5. I really think he's the modern day Jace. Could Angela Leah beat Cam, Mackenzie, Chemo, Rubina final 2 vote if they are continue to be seen as followers for Chelsie? Yes. Well, Angela, probably not, but not impossible. I think Angela is starting to build a story for herself. It's just like who can she get to the end with for that story to matter. But there's a world where certainly Leah beats Cam, Mackenzie, Chemo, Rubina, especially with Quinn as the jury 4 person and those other people. Like she's gonna have underdog story status soon. And I think that she will have a decent shot if she makes it to the end, but that's looking a little rough right now. Okay. I think that's about what we have for you here. Who will Chelsie vote out in a tie? I believe if it's a tie, Chelsie will vote out Quinn every time. I don't think that's changing. If she's fine with Quinn staying, she will want it to be a 4-2 vote. She will not want to break a tie because if she breaks the tie, she breaks her connection to Tikor and Rubina, and that's not good for her. So I do not think that she will that she will break the tie to evict Chemo. What if Quinn stays and wins HOH? As of right now, he said that he will target the Tikor trio because obviously the people that would save him would be the MJ Cam contingent. So he would stick with them and target the Tikor. Well, they wouldn't be a trio anymore. It would be Tikor and Rubina. So it would be pretty bad for Tikor and Rubina if they lost Chemo here. It would be pretty bad. But we'll see where things go. All right. So that is about what we have for you here today. Thank you all so much for joining me. Again, check out the roundtable tonight. I'll be back tomorrow morning to update you on everything that happens today on the Big Brother 26 live feeds. 11 a.m. Eastern. And then tomorrow night, episode, I'll be on Twitch hanging out. We'll have a podcast afterward. Plenty of Big Brother stuff heading your way. We've got circle coverage coming this week. We've got scripted content, the Tastemakers, Rings of Power, lots of stuff going on. Thank you all again for hanging out. Oh, and also tomorrow for the podcast, Felicia will be joining us. So stay tuned for that. All right. Thank you again for hanging out. I will see all of you next time.